All right, all right, all right. We are back for a First and 60 show quick hit. I am Sunny Cadwallader, also known as Cad Chica. I am joined by my co-host, Russell, the Pro Football Guru Baxter. Hey, Russ.
Hey, Sonny, how you doing? We're a little more than I'll never get used to that standing ovation while I'm sitting. We're a little more than a week into free agency, so we thought we would take a few minutes, and this is something that's going to be very common with First and 60. Is our quick hits. You'll see them from time to time, along with our show on Thursdays every couple of weeks. So let's get right to it.
All right, I am going to do a screen share, and I'm going to ask you some questions, Russ. Some interesting storylines coming out today and yesterday, and let's go. Hang on just a minute. I'll bring it up for you. This first one, I saw this today, and I thought it was very interesting. The Bucs are not done with free agency, according to Coach Lovie Smith. I'm not sure about that. What do you think? What do you
Well,
think?
listen, they've been about as busy as anyone. There's an opportunity for a great headline there. I was surprised it didn't say the Bucs will not stop here, and apparently they won't stop here because they've been as busy as anyone. Alteron Werner, Michael Johnson to bolster that secondary and pass rush. Anthony Collins, even Dietrich Smith to bolster the offensive line. They brought in Brandon Myers as an outlet for Josh McCown, who they also signed, and who's going to be the starter. They still have some cap money left. This is a team that has finished in the basement in the NFC South 3 years in a row. Now, keep in mind, since that division had been formed, no team had ever done it 2 years in a row, and the Bucs are on a bad streak that way. Lovie Smith, I'm not going to be surprised that him and Leslie Frazier, a former Bears coach, a former Vikings coach, maybe dips into some players that they're very, very familiar with.
Well, a 17 million plus under the cap space, according to Pro Football Talk as of this morning.
Is that enough to get me and you in Tampa?
Hey, sign me up, buy me the plane ticket. I am there. What about you?
You're a natural. Sunny in Tampa. I mean, that's just a natural.
I know. I'm up here in sort of gloomy, the Pacific Northwest. I think I need some sunshine. Let me move on to the Giants, who, by all intents and purposes, they are moving in the right direction in their free agency moves. According to this ESPN article, the question was asked, what's left for them to do? They have made some good additions on the defense. So what do you think, Russ?
Well, they've really concentrated their work in the secondary. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, Walter Thurman gives them solid corners. They already have Corey Webster there. They've re-signed Stevie Brown, who's a pretty opportunistic safety who missed all of last season. They bring in Quentin Demps for reserve help at safety. Can also help them at kickoff returns as well. Now, remember, they lost Lindell Joseph in the middle of their defensive line. They also lost Justin Tuck. But this is an intriguing team the last couple of years. In the early stages of free agency, which goes back to 1993, and for the majority of it, the Giants were never really big players, per se, in free agency. They were a team that relied very much on the draft, and their front office always did a great job also grabbing undrafted free agents like a Victor Cruz. But the last couple of years, they've been a lot more active in free agency. They brought Mario Manningham back, to help their receiving core. Hakeem Nicks is now gone. The most important thing, it's funny, there's going to be a lot of turnover on the Giants, per se, this year, and turnovers were the thing that killed them last year. They led the league with 44.
Definitely. They were just over $3 million in cap space right as of this morning again. So we'll see how it all shakes out. And one more thing I wanted to bring up, which I thought was interesting. This is where the social media aspect of our show comes in. Richie Incognito, he came back to Twitter. I don't think I need to tell anybody out there the Richie Incognito story down in Miami. Says he missed everybody and he was back on Twitter. One more thing that I wanted to bring up, though, with this, and this is where I want to talk to you about, Russ, is he's looking forward to getting back to work. Now, where that ends up, what does that mean? We'll see. Where is he going to end up? When will he sign? I'm thinking it it might be a while that he's on the sidelines. What do you think, Russ?
Yeah, I think it's a possibility. I mean, this is all going to be about evaluation process and bringing him in and talking to him and finding out what he's doing, personally more than anything else. Is he in shape? Remember, Richie Incognito is also a veteran player now. He's been around the league. He's not a young man anymore. So you're not talking about a 23 or 24-year-old offensive lineman. The ramifications of what happened last year, everybody's going to take that a different way. When we listened to opinions about this for 4 months,
Yes.
And how so many people were split over what this was really all about and so on. Unfortunately, I think Richie's track record throughout the years hurts him a little, but I don't know if that necessarily means he's going to be out of football this year. We have a tendency, or the game has a tendency to forgive and forget very, very quickly.
Need is quite the motivating factor in the NFL, isn't it? I mean, but the question is, do you think it'll be before or after the draft?
Well, we're in a time right now, and we're still a good ways away from the draft, which obviously is May 8th through 10th. Right. But a lot of the big money, per se, there's obviously some teams that still have considerable money to spend. But a lot of the big money, the big ticket free agents, always get gobbled up the first week or so, and we're already through the first week or so. There's guys out there like Michael Vick, and there's guys out there like Jared Allen, and et cetera, et cetera. And Richie Incognito, again, he's going to have to make probably the tour of duty with various teams who'll be looking for an experienced guard. And you can always use depth on their offensive line.
Yeah,
It might be almost like a start over time for him. The thing to keep in mind about this league is there's a degree of economics about it. So you're going to draft. You're also going to go after rookie free agents after the draft. You might not be far off, Sunny. It could be a process for him where why not take your time, and maybe it's somebody who gets signed maybe even the week of the draft, during the draft period, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, or maybe a week or so afterwards.
Right. And I just had a thought, and it just flew right. Oh, that's what I was going to say. How funny would it be? Maybe it's not funny to anybody else out there, but to me, how funny would it be to see him end up in the NFC West somewhere?
Wow. That would be that'd be very, very interesting to say the least.
They wouldn't be on this field at the same time.
I totally understand that, and obviously what Sonny's referring to is Jonathan Martin, who was traded to the San Francisco 49ers a week or so ago. So again, they would not be facing each other, but that would be very, very intriguing. And stranger things have happened in this league. You'll remember when Albert Hainsworth and Andre Garrod suddenly were on teams in the same division, and you remember the stomping incident from a couple of years ago. So you see that type of stuff more than you think, and certainly more than you did 20 years ago, because the ability to move as a player has changed with free agency.
Definitely. Anything else that has jumped out at you during this free agency period since we last talked, Russ?
No, I mean, the teams that are being busy are busy. And the teams who like to stick to their philosophy of relying on the draft, I mean, I don't think much has changed all that much. We've referred to the Giants. Some teams quieter than most. There's still some named guys out there that you're wondering where they're going to wind up, like a Noshawn Moreno, like a Jared Allen. Lance Moore was let go by the Saints. So, there's still some players out there that are intriguing and that could help a team. And eventually it's going to sort itself out. But it's very interesting to watch how this all unfolds now. There's such a rush to sign players the first week or so, even more so than there was in earlier years, right, now that they have relaxed the rules in terms of negotiating with players.
And for some teams, I know, reading some of the fan reaction, you don't have to go onto this team at all, but for like Jets fans, it's like.
Well, I just got done doing power rankings for all the teams. Prefaced by the fact that the power rankings are as of March 18th. I'm not anticipating what a team's going to do in September. I'm just ranking them as I see them right now.
Right.
And dare I say, Of all the pieces I've written for Bleacher Report, this has gotten more comments clearly than any other piece I've written in 2 years.
Is there any one team that team's fans that have voiced their opinion more loudly?
The Broncos fans were not thrilled about the fact that I ranked the Broncos 6th right now. Many of them couldn't understand why I didn't have them in the top 5. And I said,
but they made all of those moves, Russ.
I understand, but here was the funny thing. I have them 6th. I don't have them 26th. Okay, so it's not like I threw them back. Also, and be honest with you, a lot of Miami fans didn't like where I ranked the Dolphins. But again, I told people, and I prefaced it in the piece. This piece is as of March 18th. Okay, let's see what we do a couple months down the road. I mean, you can change the power rankings on a daily basis, but if you're pinning me down for a fan base that was probably a little more disappointed than others, it was probably the Denver Broncos at 6th. Okay, it's not like I had them playing in. It's not like they were the 64th team in the NCAA tournament.
Well, you know, it doesn't matter. That's what I think of Broncos fans anyway. So.
Okay, well, I hate to break this to you. I had the Raiders at 31st.
No, we're not. Wait. We got to just. We needed some sound effects. We didn't want to hear what you had to say, Russ.
Well, that's okay. The Raiders haven't made much noise lately.
Oh, man. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what you call a stab in the back, or stab in the heart in this case. And that concludes our quick hit for today. Tune in next week for a full 60-minute show, the First and 60 show next Thursday evening at 5 p.m. West my time and 8 p.m. Russ's time. Thanks, everyone. Hey, Russ, thanks for everything.
Remember, Sonny, I will never stab you in the back because I'm looking at you face to face.
I know, that was a stab to the heart. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you next Thursday.